It is 7:37, and we're back on Jersey Central on the new Talk Radio 1450 WCTC, the voice of Central Jersey. Our phone number is 732-545-9282. Toll-free number from anywhere is 888-545-9282. Our contest is coming up. Got your first chance to win some tickets to Taste of Middlesex. That will be at the Pines Manor in Edison on March 19th. I'll be hosting again. Just a great night of networking, and of course all the great restaurants and beverage distributors from around central New Jersey will all gather. Would love nothing more than to have you there with a free pair of tickets from us, and your first chance to win is coming up a little bit later on this morning. Special guest joining me inside the ProCure studios here to talk about something called the Convention of States Project. And one of the reasons why they say that this Convention of States is so important, reason number two, is because decisions for New Jersey should be made in New Jersey. And right away, that kind of caught my eye, and I couldn't agree more. So joining me inside the ProCure studios this morning is the New Jersey State Director of the Convention of States Project. We have Dan Gilligan, who is here. Good morning, Dan. Good to see you.
Good morning, Bert. Nice to see you.
Thank you for coming by. And I'd love to learn more about what exactly the Convention of States Project is and how a great state like New Jersey can benefit from being part of it. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Convention of States is a means by which regular citizens, Bert, like us, can get together and work with state legislators and through our state legislature to actually have an effect at the federal level. So you may say, well, geez, I vote, I pay attention to the news, I'm engaged in my community, but I'm concerned about things at the federal level. I'm concerned about the $20 trillion in debt. I'm concerned about the $100 trillion, whatever that number is, in unfunded liabilities. I'm concerned about federal power issues in 400 federal agencies. This just doesn't really seem to be the way that things are supposed to be. And when I simply look at, the financial trajectory that we're on, I'm kind of concerned about, exactly how does this play out, because I don't think it's going to play out very well. So people are frustrated, and they're interested in, well, what is it that we can do to have a constructive effect? And Convention of States is it. Convention of States is really rather elegant that way, and in fact certainly legitimate, because at the time that the country was founded, the founders said, you know what, we're creating this federal government, we're creating it essentially to serve the states. We're creating it to do a number of things, but really we didn't create it so that we would have something bigger than us to tell us what to do. It was created to serve the states. And they sat there and they said, that's a fantastic idea. We're really doing really well, Thomas and all the gentlemen there, very brilliant men. But they said, because of human nature being what it is, and human power tending to aggregate and grow, this federal government might just get off the rails a little bit. It might start doing a lot more than we ever expect or intended to do. So let's put something in the Constitution that allows for the states to act as a check to that. And that's referred to as a Convention of States under Article 5. So, they were very prescient in doing that. And we feel, we volunteers, and we're all volunteers in New Jersey. Gary and I, we have full-time jobs, just like the rest of us who are participating with this. We feel very, honored and grateful that we have the opportunity to constructively participate in what we see as helping out our country and helping out our government to kind of correct the course.
It always seemed like a double-edged kind of sword to me, Dan, when it comes to the relationship between state governments and federal governments, and I think New Jersey is a great example. Whereas, you know what, I like the idea that we kind of make decisions for ourselves. We have a government in place, we have state representatives, we have 122 people that make the decisions for 9 million of us. I'm fine with that. But it seems like no matter what state you live in, you always need to have, whether it's federal money, federal funding, in the event of a natural disaster, right away we're going to Washington, hey, we need some help, we need money with this. And we have representation at the federal level also. So it seems like, it's sometimes more government is not always good, but sometimes you need to have the backing of a federal government too. Yeah. How do you address something like that?
Well, there certainly is an appropriate place for a federal government. We believe in that, certainly. All that we're saying is that there is a little bit too much of that power that has aggregated in Washington. And we believe that should be restricted. There is a role for government to do all types of kind of mutually beneficial things across the country. But that power has grown to the point to where the states almost look like administrative functionaries to the federal government.
Yeah.
I agree with you, and there's that Roman concept that power it best serves people to whom it is closest, because it is much tougher for a government to be. And I know there's certain states where you can make an argument against this, but it's tougher for a government to be more corrupt if it is really closer to you. It's easier for it to make mistakes, not just intentional corruption, but just to be mistaken if it's further away from the people that it's supposed to be serving. So we believe that power. And at this point, you have, it's difficult to count how many federal agencies there are, but it looks like there's over 400.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
they're essentially making law kind of outside of the constitutional prescription for making law. So we find that very troubling. I love the country. The federal government does a lot of things right. We just think that the balance is out of whack.
Yeah.
And Bert, just as there is that concept that we're all very familiar with, that balance of power between the three branches of the federal government, the executive, judiciary, Congress, there was expected to be that same dynamic between the states and the federal government. And that dynamic was supposed to be, or expected to be, kind of placed through this Article 5 process. So,
Sure.
It's very hard, this Article 5 process, and it's actually never been done, what we're trying to do. And some people believe that the fact that it's never been done is part of the reason why the country's having the difficulties that it is.
Gotcha. Talk
Yeah.
about the Convention of States project and the national impact that it's had. Is there a lot of support for this in the other states that you've seen?
Well, Gary and I, along with the rest of our team, we're amateurs at this. But we've been in business as the Convention of State project, so to speak, for approximately 4 years. And at this point, we have over 3 million supporters across the country.
Wow.
We have 12 states who have adopted our resolution. We're working hard to make New Jersey one of those.
That's
But
fantastic.
from what I'm told, that's an extraordinarily rapid, pace of success
Oh, absolutely,
for a
sure.
volunteer-based grassroots movement.
Wow. Okay. And there are some people that say that, the role of the federal government should be just, protect our borders and mint coins and stay out of everything else. You're not calling for something that radical, are you?
No, all that we're saying, and we're not coming and saying, these are our solutions, just stick to minting coins and this kind of thing.
Right.
All that we're saying, in our platform, we have 3 platform items, we're saying the states should get together and talk about ways in which we can have the federal government restrict spending. I don't know what the solution to that is, and frankly, at this point, I'm not really interested if you want to stop, reduce military spending or Medicare. We're just saying we think that spending is a problem,
Yeah,
and we
yeah.
think that Washington D.C. is structurally incapable of addressing that in a meaningful, significant way. Hey, but what are we going to do? Well, let's open up the cookbook. Let's see what the Constitution says. Recipe number Article 5 is right here.
Yeah.
We get the states together to consider ways to do this, and the states have the authority to do it.
And the timing of you, Dan, could not be better with our government facing another shutdown just this week. I mean, it wasn't that long ago. We closed the store for 3 days.
Yeah.
We bought ourselves a little bit of time to February 8th, maybe thinking that February 8th would never get here. We're
Yeah.
3 days away from seeing our federal government close again, shut down again.
Bert, I hear you. And whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, it's really tough to look at Washington, D.C. and say, yeah, I'm kind of happy with how that's working. So
I don't know of anybody who has said that in a long time. You're right. You're right. We're going to come back. We'll spend some more time with our special in-studio guest. Dan Gilligan is here. He is the director, New Jersey State Director of the Convention of States Project. We'll come back. We'll give you some information. There's a website you can mention. You can sign the petition, get a lot more information, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. It's right there. It already exists, right? You're not reinventing the wheel. It's already around.
Bert,
It's already there.
You're exactly right, and that's what many of us find very attractive about this is that this isn't something where this think tank came up with this idea, or this college professor, or this political group came up with this new idea. We're simply kind of following the Constitution, and so therefore it's a very legitimate way and an expected way for us to go about checking the federal government.
Sure.
The 3 platform items that we have, and there's a resolution that we have in the New Jersey legislature, in the Assembly and in the Senate, 12 states have passed it, as I mentioned, and we have this pending resolution in many states across the country. We're active in all 50 states. And basically what the resolution says is we would like the states to get together, to have a convention, to have a meeting, okay, to address three things. Ways in which we can reduce federal spending, ways in which we can reduce federal power and jurisdiction, and consideration of term limits at the federal level. And what is also very attractive to people about this is that this is done in a way that is completely independent from the federal government. Because people will say, well, Dan, what's the Supreme Court have to say about this?
Right.
Or, what's the governor of New Jersey have to say about this?
Sure, sure.
The answer is they're not invited. This was set up so that the states could, balance the federal government.
Interesting.
So, according to Article 5, 2/3 of the states have to agree to essentially just have this meeting. And that's really all that it is. And there may be something that comes out of the meeting, there may be nothing that comes out of the meeting, but I just think it's going to be very powerful, for the states to realize, and for people like us to realize, hey, you know what? Something can be done about the concerns that we have at the federal level.
Yes.
So once the 34 states pass that resolution, as I mentioned, 12 have, and we're hoping over the next year or so that we get a lot more. We have, it's just about 3,000 new people coming in over the transom, through our website, because we started some national advertising, and it's the word is really starting to get out. So once those 2/3 of the states pass the resolution, we have the meeting at which we consider amendments to the Constitution, actually, in regard to those three application items. Now, some people may say, hey, amendments to the Constitution, that's kind of like, that's a big deal, man.
Yeah.
That's like radical. Well, it's controlled, and I also think that, the issues that we face are really quite radical. If you want to fix something that's a big problem, you can't really come at it with like a little idea. You have to do something commensurate to that.
Of course, right.
So once we have the meeting, then, and we've actually had a simulated meeting where there was representatives of every state in the country. In Virginia this past September, it went very well. It was a great time. We have some information we could get over to you about that if you're interested further. But they have that meeting, and then whatever work product comes out of that, if any, okay, then doesn't just get approved by the 2/3 of 34 states, because it goes back out to the state legislature. Remember, this is autonomous from the federal government, but it has to get approved by 38 states. 2/3 in, 3/4 out for approval,
Right.
which is really a very high bar. Okay.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, it's almost difficult to imagine this actually happening. But we have a lot of passionate people behind it, moving it.
There's no
And
question.
it's an appropriately high bar. I mean, what we're doing is, this is significant and powerful, so it shouldn't be easy. And I think it's just like the perfect prescription. When I look back and say, these guys figured this out a couple hundred years ago and laid out this game plan for us. Yeah, I'm interested in getting on that field and grabbing the ball and running up and down.
Gotcha. A very timely analogy, too, by the way.
Exactly.
Where can people go? Someone who's on board with this, Dan, where do they go? How do they go online and really become a part of this movement here? What's the next step?
Well, we have a great onboarding process. We have a great volunteer team in New Jersey with guys like Gary Brenner and Lee and Rodica and Jonathan. And we have district captains throughout the state that come onto the website.
Okay.
And you can just sign on. You can sign the petition, which we'd encourage you to do. We do keep track of those petitions as we meet with state legislators. They are interested in how many petitions are signed in their district, and we share that information with them. And then you can volunteer to whatever extent you want. We
Great.
have people who make a phone call for us once a month. We have people who go down to Trenton and join Bill Truax and his team down there. We have people like, Gary, who get involved with media stuff. We got guys taking pictures and doing videos. So there's a role for everybody. We have people who put stamps on stuff at their kitchen table. That's what they like to do.
Yeah.
So we welcome everybody. It's a great organization. You meet a lot of people who have concerns about the country. We share a common interest, and you make a lot of friends.
Sure.
It's all good all around.
All right. And the website, conventionofstates.com.
Correct.
Is there something a little more direct and local, Dan, that you want people to use? Is there a local number, or should they just go through the national
Well, if they
site?
go there, then they can go to the blogs
Okay.
and put in New Jersey, and there's a New Jersey page. Jonathan's got our New Jersey Facebook page up and running pretty good for those
Okay.
people who want to contact us through that. There's a Twitter thing going on. So, yeah, that's, and we have like a regular North Jersey meeting that Bill Boniface runs. We have a regular Central Jersey meeting. So as people come in and they're like, hey, you know, I heard you on the radio, Bert, talking about this. What's going on?
Right.
You know, they can actually show up and meet us, and you know, we'll fill them in.
Very good. Good stuff. Dan Gilligan, New Jersey State Director of the Convention of States Project. Thanks for coming by this morning,
Yeah.
and greatly appreciate it. And good luck with what you're trying to accomplish here.
Thanks.
I greatly thank
Enjoy-
you for taking the time.
I enjoyed talking with you, Bert. Thank you.
All right.
Sign the petition and get your friends and family to do the same. With your full address, your state legislators will know that you really are their constituents in their district. Our success depends on you. So we're inviting you to be part of history. Let's invoke the constitutional solution that's as big as the problem.